Here we go. Hi lovely ladies, it's Eloise here, the Money Alchemist. I'm here with Kat Chu. I'm just going to do a few technology checks, so just bear with us whilst I check out what's going on over on Facebook, because we're in a super duper fancy bit of software which I have no idea how it works, so I have to check it. Just bear with me a 1 minute. Looks like, are we live? Yeah, it looks like we're live. So I'm just going to pop something in this live video. Oh, it's upsetting my it's upsetting my computer. Edit. Let's just have a look. Oh my goodness.
The joys of technology.
Yeah, right. I think I've done it. It's saving. So hopefully, yes, we've got a title now, so I can come out of that. There we go. So technology all working. So good afternoon, lovelies. Welcome to Money Alchemy Stories. This is a short series of stories that I've been doing all week, and we've had a whale of a time doing them. And I wanted to introduce you to my very good friend and client, Kat. And Kat, introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, where you are, and a little bit about your story.
Okay, so my name is Kat Chu. I'm a Chinese medicine doctor primarily. I'm born into a family of Chinese healers. And what most of my work nowadays is what's called as a sacred visionary. So I work with all the kind of different realms and dimensions and different energies. I take people on journeys through these spaces, these kind of inner worlds, to connect to their soul, to draw all the fragments back. And to really allow them to experience and be in these different energies, to become whole again, to understand that. And obviously I've got all this background in Chinese medicine to be able to apply to it as well. So there's lots of other healing modalities and everything involved in that. But this is kind of my real passion. So in a kind of money sense, kind of when I met you and the work that I was doing, so I used to run a big business before, and I'm kind of one of these people who I started off doing a little bit, started off being a little therapist, well, not a little therapist, but a therapist. And before I knew it, I had a whole centre based around me. Which was amazing. Did this huge community centre in Nottingham. I had like 15, 20 therapists working under me. I had 5 or 6 people in the offices. And it was all based on community, very much on sort of charitable work, offering people the options, the alternatives. And from the outside, it probably looked like an absolute wonderful success story. But that, I mean, unfortunately, divine timing, as they say, I closed that literally the week before lockdown started. And it probably took me a good year or so to actually get over it. I was absolutely shattered. I came to realise that I'd given so much more than I'd received. And that was very obvious in a financial sense as well, because really after something like that, I should have been able to have a nice sabbatical, really, I think,
Yeah.
This stuff. So it made me, as a person, as to where I come from, it want to look at these aspects of kind of overgiving and not kind of looking after myself enough. Kind of it's that aspect of the wounded healer, I guess, that a lot of people don't want to admit to, like, I am the healer. But obviously it's how we all come to this work, that there are aspects in ourselves that we recognise in others, So for me, it was very much because I come from a holistic, very kind of world, to look at everything from different angles, and I'd been brought up very much in a very Buddhist tradition where, to be humble, to be of service, to be charitable, to reach out to the meek and the mild, as they say, is very much a kind of intrinsic part of my culture and my upbringing. But, the difficulty is that I hadn't learned how to gain what I needed before I turned to service. So it was a really interesting aspect for me to kind of come to this work, really. And I think definitely what really kind of made me, when I saw your stuff, really made me kind of click, was the more spiritual aspect of it for me. You know, there's, because I've done a lot of work like this, because I've done, you know, I also have a degree in quantum physics and pure maths, but you know, so
she just happens to have that. I love it. I love it.
So you know, the kind of quantum field science, energetics is something that I know of, and I'm aware of the kind of law of attraction, and I'd studied a lot of things like Neville Goddard and things like that. But for me, it was a very kind of, you know, right, this has got to do this, got to do this, got to do this, and there was no kind of embodiment of it. You know, it was a very sort of empty set of rules. And I know from the work that I've done that you can say something a million times, but it's got to go in. You've got to, the change is there. It's not a tangible thing, but you know when you're there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a bit of my story and how I came to find you.
And it is much more, I find it's much more about energetics than it is the practical side of money skills. The practical side of money skills come when you've got the energetics sorted, and they come easy, don't they? A lot of people think they're not very good at money until they start feeling it, and then they become really good at it. They become really powerful manifestors. So what was the biggest transformation for you when you started working with Money Alchemy?
I think really it was just, it gave me the ability to look at everything else in my life. There was that real kind of, actually, this is a reflection of everything that's going on. And it allowed me to begin to see so many other things. Like you said, I didn't, you know, if we knew what the problem was, it wasn't be a problem, you know. So I think part of the work for me was, you know, really being able to uncover in that kind of safe space what was underneath, you know, all of these processes. Because yes, okay, it was affecting my wealth, it was affecting my finance, but actually what was astounding was so many other areas where it was really affecting it. And I think for me it was just the comfort of knowing it was energetic, of knowing it was spiritual, and having that real, you know, connection. And the femininity, I think, was, you know, I think, you know, in this age, in the, you know, the age of the divine feminine and so on, you know, that money has been such a masculine aspect, and a kind of force, you know, that we've been brought up with, to be able to suddenly kind of bring the feminine to it. There was so much that I hadn't seen. You know, there was so many gifts, there was so much there for me that I was just like, I'd kind of shoved under the carpet. And it was like, well, of course, you know, there was this, you know, for me, yin yang, you know, this is constant movement and change. So, you know, it's like we're kind of excess yang when it comes to money, which is all about control, which is, you know, so not only had it got control over me, but I was trying to control it through a very regimented sense. And when I understood the feminine, I could bring all my understanding of femininity, I could bring all my understanding of Chinese medicine, of yin yang. I could suddenly, you know, start applying all of that. And it was, yeah, I mean, it was like a floodgate, really, I think, when that one opened. So I was like, oh yeah.
and it changed the way you work as well, didn't it?
Massively. Well, yes, exactly. You know, it was all part of the process, you know, that, you know, before it was very much, you know, I mean, I used to have days at work where people, oh, I can't do it. And I'd literally end up working through my lunch hour, you know, here I am, you know, giving all this medical advice, you know, oh, you need to eat this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And then, you know, running in, shoving half a sandwich down my face and scuttling back out, you know. So it was like, it was the practicing what you preach, you know, and, you know, deep down, you know, a lot of the stuff that you teach, it's like, oh, there's kind of part of you that already knows it, that connects with it so deeply. It's like, I kind of know that. And I think, you know, it's that sort of aspect to it. So, you know, for me, it was very much about looking at my whole work-life balance, you know, and understanding what it was truly that I wanted from life, you know, because, you know, what is abundance? You know, what is it that we want? You know, and for me, you know, yes, okay, there was the financial thing, but really the kind of the linchpin in that was that I wanted more freedom in my life. I wanted more peace, which is what came with the freedom.
Yeah.
You know, and it was that I was really looking for, because it was, you know, the financial freedom, the peace of not, you know, constantly having to concentrate and you know, think about the kind of financial aspects of life. There was so much space in my head. I'm like, what do I do now? You know, so it's allowed me to do so many other creative things that I felt I didn't have time for, you know. So I'm back to writing again, you know, back to my own, you know, doing so much more of my own practices, you know, so much more time in nature, you know, the things that really do bring me joy. And it allows me to focus and create clarity in, you know, what I actually want from not just my wallet, but my life, you know.
Yeah, because it's so much bigger than money, isn't it? Like, we think it's about the money, and literally everyone says this. It's it's it is about the money, but it's not about the money. It's about everything else. And there's lots of penny drop moments that happen with money alchemy, isn't there? It's like, oh, I get what Eloise was talking about for 6 months now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's as with everything, you know, it's the reflection. And I think, you know, there's so many tiny aspects of our behavior, of you know, of the things that we do. You know, I mean, I work obviously in a similar world, so you know, it's funny because even though it's a kind of similar thing, we all need the one person to help us, to guide us on a
Yeah.
slightly different route sometimes that we can't see. You know, and you know, I see so many people, and it's almost like, you know, we're trying so desperately to do something, it's like they create the complete opposite. You know,
Yes.
it's like when someone pushes you away, all they really want is affection, you know, but you
Yeah.
meet this wall, you know. So people, you know, so it's almost like we have to kind of break those down for ourselves, you know. And I think, you know, those aha moments, as I said, you know, yes, it's connected to the energy and the essence of money and how we want to bring that into our lives and have abundance in our life and live an abundant life. But it also reflects, like I said, you know, now I give myself more time and I have more peace. You know, I feel, you know, I allow myself to be free. You know,
Yeah.
you know, I was constantly busy,
Yeah.
you know,
I
doing
remember.
nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, so that aspect is, you know, really really just changed so much, because with that it's given me the clarity to be able to, you know, like I said, to sort of say, well, what actually do I want out of life? Where am I aiming for? How much do I want? How do I want to spend it? What am I going to do with it? What value is that going to bring to me? And I've found that now I can kind of see the value, the life value, the lesson within it. It's much easier for me, you know. And you know, I mean, it's instant sometimes, you know. I mean, I still kind of giggle at it because, you know, I wake up every morning, I do my stuff, and literally by lunchtimes I'm like, right, well, that's me done for the day. I'm
Yeah.
good, you know, I can sit down. So yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it's fascinating to see how it changes and builds. You know, the more that you do the work, the stronger the connection becomes, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember we spent a day together on Zoom, didn't we?
Yeah.
And literally you walked away from it and you made your money back so many times over. You're a very powerful manifester because you literally drop immediately into what it is you need to do. And I always remember like sitting here going, oh my God!
Yeah, totally. That's it. You know, it's like, I think in that, because I had that kind of rather, you know, serendipitous, as they say, you know, that I had that session for the course in the evening, and literally I think I doubled everything and just went bump and just did it. And then I just sat and I thought, what? You know,
And it was easy, wasn't it, in a
it was
way?
the easiest thing ever. I mean, I can honestly say to anyone here, what you actually need is like a little micro Eloise just in your pocket at all moments. I do things like this, going, what are you doing? You know, and I mean, still to this day, you know, it is, you know, the beauty of it. It's like you're on my shoulder going, like,
Yeah.
Pat, really? No, we're not. You know, so it's brilliant like that. You know, and obviously, you know, I made 50% more than I was expecting to make. So
Yeah.
like you say, it paid for the day. It paid for, well, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was you literally took everything that we talked about, and this is what I say to people, like, if you do the money alchemy work, you cannot fail. Like, if you do the work, money is going to come up, it's going to show up really, really fast. And I expect, even now, I know I am. Are you still surprised how quickly you get results when you apply those techniques?
Yeah, completely.
Even though you know it works.
Even though I know it works. And I mean, I think the thing is as well, that you sort of say, oh, if you do the work. But I mean, the thing is, to me, I'm a very spiritual person. I studied magic. I do all kinds of stuff like this. So to me, it doesn't even really feel like work.
No, it's fun work,
that's
isn't
the
it?
difference.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm working for it. I'm there being my, crazy little self, doing like, my little weirdness and bits of my, and I love it. This is, that to me is, it's not work, it's joy. And I think that's the real pleasure in it, because that's how I like to work with energy and do things. So, there's lots of little check-ins that I can do every day. And, the more I've done it, the more the kind of principles are in my mind. So it's, it's so kind of mindful now. It's just constantly in there, the intentions, the everything that I do within the actions, there's this, definite kind of intention behind everything. And it just changes the way that you see the actions that you take, and it begins to really make you realize on that level how much you've kind of swept under the carpet, or just sort of like, oh, it's okay. And actually, through doing something that I really love doing, and bringing the magic in, it makes more magic. So yeah,
absolutely. And when we started, you had your archetypes were a bit out of control, weren't they? They were in their extremes, in the shadow sides. Talk to us a bit about how it's changed since you've learnt to balance those out.
Well, to be honest, I mean, it's nice having the archetypes, because it allows me to recognise the thoughts and the voices and things like that. So it's really helped me to categorise it. And I think
you can spot them all, can't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not right.
Hello. Oh, it's you.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, a mega nurturer.
Extreme.
And, in a certain sense, I was very successful at it. I treated thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, really. I've been all over the world doing voluntary work, doing things like this. And that was in everything else as well. So it made me realise, to be able to understand that energy, and to be able to look at all the other ones and say, okay, I'm going to try a bit of this and balance that out, and I'm going to use this one to talk to that one. And now it's much more, every now and again I think, oh, what's going on here? And I'll actually get the cards out and I read them and I think, oh, it's you, and there's all the kind of stuff there. So I'll use the affirmation, or, I'll look at some of the things that we can do, or some of the wordings, or what's happening, and I'll go, go and have a chat with it, basically. And so, it allows me to recognise things much quicker. And to have those kind of personalities in there.
Yeah, and I think the thing I love the most about the archetypes is I always thought, oh, that's just the way I am. But once you start working with the archetypes, you realise, actually, I can opt which bit I use and how I it becomes, like you said, it's like a conversation then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, which friend's advice am I going to listen to today? And sometimes we take the wrong advice because it sounds the most exciting, but generally we start to become more discerning, don't we, when we realise that's just one idea, that's just one train of thought, and the archetypes really show us loads of different ideas, don't they? I know in the academy we had some training on having coffee with your archetypes, didn't we? So, like a little dolls party, but with your archetypes, and it really helps, doesn't it? It made me feel like it's not me. I mean, I still think it's me sometimes, but it's not me. It's my ruler. It's my maverick. It's that, and it's really helpful. Kat, what would you say to someone who was thinking about jumping into either the academy or the circle, but wasn't quite sure?
Well, I just say do it. It's like, I mean, the thing is, I think you're going to learn so much more than you realize. This isn't just a journey about making more money. It's a journey about you. So really, it's like we said, it's an investment in yourself, because you can begin to see so much more. It's not like you're suddenly like, oh, I've got another 50p in my. It's not. There's so many more gifts to it than would appear on the surface. And I mean, I think even like with the archetypes and stuff, to learn about those, to understand that, to do all the exercises and apply them, and I think what's been really fascinating for me is now I start to see the archetypes in other people.
Yeah.
So it's allowed me to do, and family members and things like that. So it's allowed me to understand a lot of stories and kind of, acceptance there. But yeah, I mean, every time I've done something with you, it's paid for itself before it's over. The day that we did, that was like 2 hours afterwards to the end of it. But when I did the first course, the first exercise in it, I'd already paid for the course. We did the day thing, and by the end of the day, I'd paid for the course. And then we did all the coaching, and by the end of the coaching, it paid for the coaching. So it basically, if you do the work, it's free, guys.
Yeah. as a minimum, it's free.
So I mean, that's it. So if it's something that you think, honestly, I'd just say go for it, because I think you'll be surprised how much of the stuff kind of heals itself from this. And like I said, it just it changes your mindset. So I know even in 5 or 10 years, 15, 20 years, that mindset isn't going to change now. It's in there. So that is it's a lifetime of change. And you've got the 12 weeks of the course or whatever, but if you think of that over your whole lifetime, it's huge, and it's massive change.
Yeah, and Money Alchemy Circle is every month now as well, which they get. You get that as part of the academy. So every month there's even more money loveliness. So it doesn't just stop at the course if you join the academy, but the circle runs separately and together, so you can get loads out of it. Well, thank you so much for your time, Kat. As always, I just love talking to you. It really energizes me. I have to go and sit in a quiet room for a while and just like ground myself. I love it. So if you just stay on the line, I'll just finish up and let everyone know. Oh, actually, before we go, sorry, Kat, tell the lovely ladies how they can find you.
My business name is Cat Tuniverse, obviously, because I help people create their own realities and journey through the realm. So you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on TikTok, you can find me at cat_chew.com as well.
Lovely. Thank you so much, lovely. And if you joined us, lovelies, I know it's a strange time of day, but hopefully you'll catch us on replay as well. Don't forget, Money Alchemy Circle is open, but only until Sunday. Come and join us, have a look around, see what you think. You're going to love it. I guarantee it. I literally guarantee it. So I'll see you later. Thanks again, Kat.
My pleasure. See you later.
Bye.